Hi, here's Bean. She's just been exercising about 10 minutes ago, and I think she's a bit knackered, but she's got over the panting, so she's almost, well, she's got over the extreme panting. Isn't that beautiful? Adorable. Some jelly. Right. This video is about the usual identification stuff, but I'm bringing in a crucial, it's a moderate constructive self-criticism. I've been implying it, but I haven't quite spelt something out, and it's about unity as an identification. But first of all, let's keep on to the issue of conflict, and then I'll get to that. So some notes that I've written out recently, which would sound like a summary of things I've always gone on about. This one I really like. Defensiveness over one's identifications is the way to demonstrate weakness and absence of individual freedom. That one I'll come back to because it's excellent. No one who evolves beyond identifications and thus experiences a more free mind ever wants to regress backwards to the unfree mind they used to experience. Imagine a person, Johnny, hopelessly tied to the views of his master, which could be a news channel, a newspaper, political elites. Now imagine someone lashing out at those same things. An aggressive protester called Timothy. Both are potentially at war and are both two sides of the same coin. Both are childish. The adult is the one who sees that entire world as for kids. Who today will have to sit in the naughty chair, Johnny or Timothy? Nothing much need be a conflict of any mentally unhealthy strength. If anything can undermine the superstructure, which is the cause of so much conflict in society, then there is only value in that if and only if it can free those who are still hypnotised by power from their spell. My attitude towards those who haven't seen through the elite propagandists, never mind haven't seen through themselves, they haven't done that either, well, they're not liberated. I've never said that divide and rule propaganda fails, though it is failing more and more. And I do say it's coming to an end across the Western world, more so as each year passes. But those who are still brainwashed are still brainwashed, still need their mind liberating for cure. A tweet by Caitlin Johnston, Australian journalist. And of course they don't look so special because they aren't so special. All the people we used to regard as superior to ourselves were always just schmucks like us. And I think there's something very empowering and democratising about this growing collective realisation, she says. Back to my own work. We have all been brainwashed at some earlier point in our lives, and therefore we know what those who are still brainwashed are going through. They are going through an unawareness of their own potential to exercise individual agency. Megaphone propagandists and their hypnotised subjects are are an Orwellian mind ache, analogous to toothache, given the irritating conflict being inserted into society. And this next bit, I do copy Caitlin's schmucks comment. I say that the megaphone propagandists are immoral and criminal because it is for the benefit of themselves, a clique. They're no different to us, we're all schmucks. Right. Now, that's more or less enough of going over the summary, but I want to just select these two. No one who evolves beyond identifications and thus experiences a more free mind ever wants to regress backwards to the unfree mind they used to experience. Now think about that. We can't that the people who do this sort of thing tend to be more the educated types. They're impossible to govern. They can't unify among themselves because they use their own individual agency. They don't suck up to their demographics so much. They think for themselves because they realise that is the mentally, socially, psychologically healthy thing to do. They know this because they've evolved. So they've been in the more teenage or the more whatever child or 22-year-old, whatever. I'm not offended. Some of them are great and they think really well at that age, but there are people do mature and they do evolve their mind. Now that once I can't identify myself with other people with a degree because I think maybe I criticise, I see them online and I think they're just the same size of the coin as the Tories they're attacking, these liberal types. They just both want the bone. That's all it is. Establishment. It's not the Tories and liberal types, liberal left types. Both one wants this, one wants this. They both want Parliament. They both want Downing Street. They both want the military. They both want the news media. They both want the wealth. They both want the chauffeur cars. They both want almost everything that the other one has, and it's just like it's so see-through. Now, it's a shame that one of the sides didn't, you know what I mean, was against all that stuff. It would really be nice, but they're not. The left are very, 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 very right-wing, if that is right-wing. Or the right-wing are very left-wing, if that states as left-wing. I don't give a crap. They're both stupid. Now, defensiveness over one's identifications is the way to demonstrate weakness and absence of individual freedom. That's very similar to the last thing I wrote here that I just mentioned. You know, because I'm saying that no one who evolves beyond identifications and thus experiences a more free mind wants to regress back to having an unfree mind. So we therefore see through defensiveness because we've been there. Defensiveness over one's identifications is the way to demonstrate weakness and absence of freedom. Now, because we've established freedom and we've evolved beyond the identifications, we experience a more free mind, we're no longer so defensive, and we see through other people's defensiveness with ease. Now, it makes, though, for an impossibility of unity. But then again, what exactly would you be aiming a unity? What would that unity even be, given that your mind is overcoming identifications? Surely if it was something solid, something substantial you could grip and hold and imagine as solid, then you would think well, that's an identification. So to go to an extreme example, I mean, obviously educated liberal lefty types wouldn't think this, but Nazis identify with things, they identify with nation, with race, and against all this other stuff, blacks, gays, whatever. And now they're identifying solidly, and they admit they identify, they admit they are super proud of the nation and all this. Right, so they've got that solid thing they're identifying with. But those of us who see through, we can't go in that direction, and it's easy to say when it's Nazis, but we can't even go in, that sounds better centre-left or centre-right direction, because that is still identifying. So there's still going to be these disagreements. Yeah, there's still going to be. I'm not, never going to. We're never going to see eye to eye on a great deal of stuff. So it's impossible to get a positive type of unity out of this stuff. So in other words, this is key. This next sentence is key. Unity is an identification. Unity would have to be forced in this sort of like positive, substantial, meaty, solid identification and unity. It would have to be forced, and that is wrong. Wrong. We cannot go there. I cannot go there. I can't say we, because other people, they have to see through themselves. So if everyone was to see through, these issues wouldn't even arise. Think about it. There'd be no such thing, you see, as identification. So these issues just wouldn't arise. So in a way there'd be a negative kind of unity, and not a positive unity as most people think of it, but a negative unity. Most people, when they think of unity, like, I don't know, they're thinking of imagine a World Cup final in Italy, and Italy's in the World Cup final, and it's in Rome, and the whole ground is just Italians. You imagine that would be like a positive, meaty, solid, substantial unity. Well, the sort of unity I'm getting at would be like a negative unity, and so many people understand that doesn't make sense. I'm not sure if it does, but if it doesn't make sense, it's just saying that the word unity is wrong. That's all. It makes sense other than that. You can explain it, but if you can't have the word unity, you can't stick a label on it. I know wants labels anyway. They cause conflict. You see, conflict's key here. I focus so much on conflict, rightly so, because those at the top, poison society, the drops of poison, then everyone's in conflict with each other, and they're thinking, get in, because this is what we want. They have to think they've got free speech, and then they have this conflict, and they're arguing about stuff that the elites couldn't give a crap about. No crap about it whatsoever. And it keeps people from arguing about what they do fear them arguing about. Stuff like money issues and stuff. Well, that's basically the big one that they fear them arguing about. Now, if you said to me, but people do often argue about money issues, I would say yes, but the government would love to deflect from that as much as possible. So they do try to deflect from that with social issues. Now that is quite clear to me, it's very obvious. Now, so like I say, we cannot get unity, not just people from my demographic, people from anyone's demographic, they can't get unity. So it's really a waste of time trying. That's basically it. And I'm just checking some notes I've written. So I say here, what we try to do with all these thoughts in our head. It's a good point. Now also, yeah. It's a note I've written, I admit, I forgot about it. Identifying with oneself is ridiculous. Schmucks, as Caitlin likes to put it. So imagine what I think about identifying with divide and rule cliques that are remote, hundreds of miles in Westminster Village, with a divide and rule, power and control. I mean, that's as bad as a farting contest, and identifying with that. This is ridiculous. If we can't identify with ourselves because it's silly, you know what I mean, and how the hell can you? So yeah, I don't identify with myself, which kind of like takes away the unity already, you know, because I'm saying, well, don't identify with me. Don't identify with me. You're meant to see the world through your own eyes and or overcome identifications. So if I'm telling people don't identify with me, then unity is impossible. One thing a lot of educated people always say, when they speak, they're not wanting people to identify with them, they're wanting people to learn for themselves. That's the phone, I'll just have to get this. I'll end the video here.